Have a good one. That's great.
I'm just waiting on the camera. So once he's ready, we will start.
He's ready.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, February 12th, 2019 City Council agenda. Can you please stand for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At 5 o'clock, the council went into closed session. Oh, yep, sorry. I'm looking at the other one, and I didn't turn the page yet. Sorry, Susan.
Mayor Fallendorf. Mayor
Oh,
Fallendorf.
here.
Vice Mayor
I'm in a
Rivera.
daze.
Present.
Councilmember Herman.
Here.
Councilmember Matilde.
Here.
Councilmember Brolio.
Here.
We have a quorum.
There has been an addition to the agenda. Staff has requested to pull regular agenda item 7A. They will be at our next city council to do a presentation. Other than that, is there any other amendments to the regular agenda? Is there any comment from the public? Nope. Okay, seeing none, is the motion to approve the agenda with the current amendment?
I move to approve as amended.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public comment. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the council on matters not on the agenda. State law prohibits the city council from acting upon matters not listed. Is there any public comment? Nope. Okay. Earlier at 5 o'clock, the council reported into closed session. Out of the 5 items, we only gave direction to staff to A, B, and D, and we will reconvene after the regular city council meeting to address the other 2 items on closed session. Okay, item 5, presentation. So, let me get my, so we're just in time, right? This week. Yep, okay, perfect timing. So this is a presentation on random act of kindness, and this was given to us by Jim Brigant. Unfortunately, tonight he was not able to come, so I'm going to read the proclamation. It is the proclamation recognizing February 11th through the 15th, 2019 as National Random Acts of Kindness Week. Whereas the National Random Acts of Kindness Week will be observed through the 11th through February 15th, and whereas the City of Angel officially became a kindness zone from February 7th, 1995, and is so recognized with the resolution number 9507. And whereas all who lived and worked in the City of Angels will be encouraged to practice random acts of kindness whenever possible. Now therefore be resolved that the City Council of Angels Camp designate the week of February 11th through the 15th of 2019 to be Kindness Week throughout the city. There we go. Did we get ribbons this year? Oh, okay. Okay, I thought he was. Okay. So if you see a blue ribbon, pass it on. Okay. On to consent agenda. We have one consent agenda, and that is approval of the regular meeting for January 15th, 2019. Is there a motion to, is there a comment from the public? Nope. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
I'll second.
Moved by Alvin, second by Linda. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll move on to regular agenda item B, the 2018-19 annual report of accomplishments from the city administrator.
Thank you.
Melissa.
I just wanted to take a minute to update the council on a few of the items that we've worked on throughout the year, but really I just wanted to highlight the work of your city team, specifically Emily Orr, Susan Wegner, Nathan Pry, John Rohrbaugh, Amy, Aaron, Scott Ellis, and Kevin Silva, and then last but not least, Roger Moore. You know, this is our management team primarily, and the list of the accomplishments that you have before you are truly theirs, and I think that they are all deserving of our recognition, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And that's our list of accomplishments for the year.
Is there any comment by the council?
I'd like to comment. I mean, it's just actually very, it's something to be celebrated because there's been so much that has been accomplished. And it always amazes me how much, even though we're always speaking and have a problem with a very tight staff load, I think there's overperformance. You know, just, anyway, I'm always amazed at how much is accomplished, and I'm just grateful for it.
I'm too. I'm very grateful.
Good job.
I'm very proud of this team. I think when you look at that first sentence and you recognize that in 1 year, we have a new city administrator, a new legal team, new finance officer, planning director, public works director, the list goes on, you're aware, that's a lot of change in a small city. And I think we're weathering the storm. The work is continuing. And, you know, I mentioned this leadership, this management team, but they have all people that are supporting them, that are making this happen, and they're deserving of the recognition too. So I'm just proud of everyone, and I'm proud that they've been able to maintain quality work during a difficult transitionary period.
Good
Yeah, I'd
job.
just like to say, good on you guys. Well done back there. And Emily, fantastic. Appreciate it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would just like to say congratulations and nice work to everybody. Everybody chips in and it makes workloads less and you can get a lot accomplished with great people. So, good job, everybody.
Yeah, and ditto, thank you for everybody. We know that you guys work your tails off. I have driven home late at night from my job and seen cars sitting at City Hall and wondering, wow, I thought I was getting home late after 8 o'clock, and it didn't look like the lights were going to be turned off soon. So I know that everybody's putting in extra hours, extra effort, and I think that's what makes this community and small town such a special place. Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's no fun, but I think that no matter what, when we drive down the street or see each other on the sidewalk and you wave and you say, hey, how's it going? And there's a genuine, connection there. So thank you, because that makes the city and people notice.
Any other comment before? I just want to say thank you to everyone, including the public, for the patience with staff and congratulating them on the huge accomplishment that have had taken place this last year. It was really hard for everyone, but we were able to see you guys work together and look what you've been able to produce, and this has just been amazing, and I think it showed the public that what to expect out of City Hall and the amount of work that you guys really do that had gone unnoticed for so long, and also just not the support that you have gotten, and it really has changed, and I can't say enough. I think Melissa's heard everything I've heard to relay to staff, and it's just great. And thank you for weathering with the council to get through these and to accomplish this. There are a couple of things that I wanted to point out. I know I'm not going to get everybody, but the biggest thing is I want to point out Emily, mostly because we are going through a transition not only in staffing but technical, and she has really stepped up and shown us that we can actually accomplish technical challenges and get things done. And now we have a pay system that the public can use online. And that is just a small thing, but it's so big that while it may look like a challenge, it's actually, it feels good. It's great to finally have those things. And so I'm really looking forward to see what she can come up with in the near future to help with these technical things.
What are the rabbits in your house?
And then I also wanted to, Amy coming into the position she was at, I don't know where she is, if she's here, but she has really been keeping the department going forward with so much of the changes that have happened, and I just want to recognize that. She walked in, and there was a lot to handle with that, and I just want to say a shout out to her. And the PD. You guys took a huge hit with Jody leaving and going to the school, but it has paid off, and I don't know if the rest of the council knows, but they has been recognized. Melissa helped me out with the exact recognition award.
Honoring our local leaders and administrators.
Yeah, thank you. And she has been highlighted in that, and that just goes to show, that's a great accomplishment for PD, not just for Jody and the community, depending and seeing that. I think it's just a great thing that has come out of something that,
Was a sacrifice.
Yeah, you guys have given up, but thank you to everybody. I know that everyone has worked hard, and I really appreciate Melissa putting this together, because it's really nice to see something in front of you, the accomplishments, and just, see where you guys are going to go. So, again, thank you. I'll stop rambling.
One final point, I think, thanks to Debbie as well. I mean, what you've done and what you've taken on kind of puts you in a position of being an extension of staff, and everything that you're doing is right on. Thank you very much.
Something crossed my mind, too, that we are complimenting and praising staff that is understaffed. And just remember, we're not planning to just continue because you're so wonderful in that manner. We are planning to hire as we prosper. They go, wait a minute.
So, with that, is there any other comments before we move on to the next item? No? Okay. Item 7C. Melissa.
Okay, so I have prepared for the council an informational item. I tried to bring to you the strategies and implementation measures from the Citygate report. I think that's one of the biggest concerns that I've heard from the community and council and staff, is that the Citygate report must live, and we must tie it to the council's goals and objectives and your strategic direction that you've given us, and we've got to do something with it so it doesn't become a wasted investment. So if the council remembers, Citygate report had identified a number of strategies. I think there were over 18 in total. I tried to lump them together in a manageable, meaningful way so staff and I could delegate them and work towards accomplishing them. The city council also went through sort of a mini strategic planning session. I think in future years, we'd like to get potentially something more robust, but this year I think we met the objective. I think it was the best we could do with what we've got, and I think it gives us some guidance going into budget as to where you want us to focus. There were 6 priorities there. So what I did was try to marry your goals with the strategic direction of Citygate, and it's my direction to my commitment to you that I will update this on a quarterly basis, and you will see where we are, what we're working on, and when we anticipate completion. So with that being said, I'd like any council direction, any feedback, anything that you'd like to see changed or incorporated, and then we are ready to get to work.
Is there any question or comment by the council?
I know this is, I'm very happy that this has been put down on paper and guides us and shows targets that we want to accomplish, because Citygate, I think, was a very helpful, the consulting and the conclusions that they reached were really helpful to us, and my concern too, and I'm really pleased that we are moving ahead with what they recommended. I feel very good about it.
I'm happy with it. It's good.
Is the council happy with the quarterly report that Melissa has proposed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this serves as an example. It's a living document. It can be modified. It'll be updated quarterly, and we'll give you an opportunity to talk about it. But this really provides a good framework going into budget development. And actually, Emily is here tonight with a few follow-up items. I think next week. We're gonna hit the ground running next week. She's got a few follow-up items that will begin implementing this direction. So we look forward to bringing you guys what we've planned for.
Is there any public comment?
Surprise.
Good piece of work,
Yeah.
Melissa, pulling that together. Good piece of work.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa.
This one's actually not going in the file.
Keep it.
Okay. Item D. Approval of supplemental fire service agreement with Altabel Maloney's for the amount not to exceed $88,695 per year. Hi, John.
How's it going, everybody? Good evening. This is something that was recommended from the council to move forward with back at the 18-19 budget time. We discussed this in pre-budget communications and in the fire committee, and then it was moved to city council for approval and budget. It was approved then. So this is just a document that allows us to start that service. It's taken a little while to get that through legal, and that's where we're here today, so we can start implementing that service. It's exciting for me. This has been something that's been recommended by 3 different consultants' reports over the last 18 years, and it's something that will double the firefighters in the city every single day. It will decrease our response times, which really comes down to a life safety issue, and truly, I believe this will save lives in the city. So I'm not sure if the council has any questions about this. Again, this was something that was presented in pre-budget and recommended to move forward. It was presented in the fire committee meetings and at city council for budget. It was approved in the budget. So this is just the formal agreement between the 2 agencies to start officially providing that service. It has been approved at the Altabel Maloney side, so we're just waiting for signatures on this side, and then they'll sign it, and we'll get that back to the city administrator. Is there any questions on this agreement?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
In your document with the date change, does this show the date of November 2018?
You probably have to ask city administrator on that. I know that will need to obviously change, and I would like to set that for probably March the 1st to start it then. That would give time to get everything set up and ready to go.
Thank you.
So how many people are over at Altabel Maloney's?
Well, with this, we will increase, it will be 2 people that will be on duty, dedicated a day just to the city. The agreement gives the fire chief the option on how to provide that service. So on some days, I might have them on the engine over here where we have 4 people, or it could be over there. It just depends. But this will dedicate 2 people from that agency to the city alone, in addition to the district coverage. So it'll be in addition to, and they'll be dedicated to the city.
And in regards to their training versus the training?
It's the same.
It's the same?
Correct.
Okay. All the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted?
It went through the legal side over here, and the city administrator and myself both made some changes to that. It then got redone and came back for the final draft. And I think the important thing is, obviously the date changes, and then we can move forward. I think it's going to be a great thing for the community as a whole. Again, both departments have been trying to do this, and it's been recommended since 2000. And I think it's the first step on maybe a bigger cooperative agreement in the future that'll be more efficient and effective and provide even a better service. It's the first step to do that.
Yeah, I think it's really good to pursue this and to see where it takes us, because usually unifying, bringing harmony between, two units like this.
Correct, yes.
It seems a good way to go.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, myself as the fire chief, I'm always trying to look for, creative ways to improve service. And, the operation is normally dictated by the budget that you have. We had to think outside the box here a little bit, and I think this will it'll be such an improvement to the community. And for me, as the chief, I know I'm going to have 4 people showing up, and that's what the National Fire Protection Agency recommends. The IAFF, I could go down the list, and it's going to allow those people to go to work when they show up on a working fire instead of have to wait for other people to come in. And for a medical call, it's the same thing, decreasing response times. And you've heard the speech before, but every minute that you're delayed, if you're a critical patient, your chance of survival decreases 10% a minute. So even a few minutes, 2-3 minutes, that's 30%. So it's really going to be an improvement, in my opinion.
What's the intention with respect to the termination date, blank?
I think it's sort of open-ended, but we would renew it every fiscal year, as I believe has how the language is stated. And that would be my recommendation. And it's nice, it is protective for both agencies. If for some reason there was a major problem or something happened for some awful reason, I mean, I know the chief over there, so, but it gives you a 10-day out. So if there's a problem, within 10 days, either department can take the agreement back or discontinue that.
So I don't see the language, it doesn't jump out at me with respect to the annual review. Is it in there on some
Yeah, I believe.
other section?
I'm sure it is in there. And it talks about renewal. Let me see if I can find it for you.
I'm on page 5, section 7, it says right of extension and termination, and then terms of the agreement. But it's not jumping out at me.
At the end of the day, there's a 30-day notice to cancel, so it provides that opportunity to review on an annual basis, and so there's a pretty clear opt-out.
So in your opinion, we don't need any specific language that says there'll be an annual review?
No, I mean, with having a 30-day cancellation
30-day
period,
calendar
it's up to
advance
both agencies to determine on an ongoing basis if this contract is penciling out, and then there's a easy opt-out for both.
Are we comfortable with the 30 days, Melissa? Should it be longer, given the scope of the work?
Well, I think, for me, the responsibility is ours to make sure that the fire department is staffed adequately. When we worked with Citygate, they said that this is really kind of the best that we can hope for in terms of a staffing plan right now, given our current financial constraints. I think for me, the term, if we could maybe work with legal counsel on modifying the term and not giving it an expiration date of, each fiscal year, but maybe say that it's a 3-year contract, the 30-day opt-out, obviously, but potentially I would like to see us have more of a term than 1 year. But I'm open to, John, I think the 30-day opt-out is good. It'll work for us. I mean, if the Altiva Maloney's wants out, then, we don't want an unwilling partner if it's not working out, but we'll have the responsibility to staff our fire department accordingly. I think I would like to see more of a multi-year term rather than have it expire every year and renegotiate every year. We may be able to put in there maybe a reopener that we could discuss on an annual basis, but I don't know. Any thoughts you've got, John?
Yeah, I think it's sort of basic. I mean, I think we could, if we need to put something in the language, we can put that it just renews or
Automatically,
and then.
Without being terminated.
Right, and then we can open up an agreement, if there's some issues, we can have dialogue about that.
Right.
I mean, I don't anticipate any issues on either side as the chief for both departments. And obviously, if there was anything going on, you know, I'd work with Melissa and the board over at the other agency to remedy those. I don't anticipate any major issues on that at all.
So I think Robin and I are both nodding our head in agreement with John that it would be great to have an automatic renewal without.
And I thought it said something there that, you know, that it would continue, but I didn't mark that on my copy. But if we need to put a sentence in there, we could do that. I mean, we've been working on this for a long time. I'd really like to get this done and start providing the service. So,
And we can always amend this and do whatever we need to.
So with that, I think that that would be the recommendation, is that we modify the term, that it automatically renews without notice, and that the right of extension and termination remain the same.
and we could, there is a term agreement in section 6. And if we needed to modify, it's on page 5, section 6, term of agreement, and then we can just, we can alter that to whatever the language is if we needed to. So we could say, well, right there, terminate, we could just say ongoing.
Yeah.
And then I think that would cover everything.
Yeah, I mean, either you could have it, yeah, I think you could even, removing the word terminate and just say shall continue for each calendar year until.
Unless terminated by either party or something.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So could we move this along with a statement about
Yeah.
amending it and then kind of get it done?
Yep,
in that regard?
with that direction, we can make that modification to the term and execute the agreement.
So I'll make a motion to proceed with this, and we'll just amend it to say with auto renewal.
And before we go second, is there any public comment?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Is there any public comment on this? Nope. Okay, bringing it back, we have a motion on the table. Is there a second?
I'll second with the amendment.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Okay, moving on to item 7E, approval of a contract amendment with Destination Angels Camp in the amount of $7,725 for community outreach and engagement activities related to the water and wastewater study. Melissa?
Perfect. So this item was follow-up to council direction on a previous council meeting regarding the water wastewater rate study. It was recognized and noted that community outreach is going to be a critical component of a successful Prop 218 hearing. So council directed that we come back with a contract amendment with Destination Angels Camp. Destination Angels Camp has put together a scope of work for us. They've included mass distribution of an informational fact sheet, which they will work with staff to develop. They've provided for a media relations push, which includes what I would consider, compared to city standards, an extensive social media capacity, because our social media presence as a city is not great. So access to DAC, their social media presence, is very helpful to us as a city. 15 to 20 small group residential meetings and 2 to 7 small group commercial meetings. They've identified an hourly rate. Also included in the scope is the Prop 218 hearing, or potentially I'm hoping to work with Debbie and maybe we do one community meeting prior to a 218 hearing and have the 218 hearing be in conjunction with a city council meeting, if I can do that. So that I think we may need to consider as we begin that outreach process, the community's taste for a larger community-wide outreach event. So I think we've left it open-ended there. We've outlined a tentative schedule, and we hope to begin new rates if successful in July. And the schedule is identified for you on page 2 of the staff memo. In terms of funding this, we've identified in the water sewer fund an expense that we anticipate some savings, and then also the rate study project has a balance. So I think I have the finance officer's approval to fund this contract from there. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. And also, if I might say though, just on a cheery, less serious note, how grateful I am, and I think the city is, for DAC's participation in the sales tax measure. And I think that our success in that initiative was due in large part to their outreach and education campaign that they assisted us with. And so I really look forward to an opportunity to work with Debbie, because I think if we have a chance of being successful with a rate increase, her participation is going to be very critical.
Agreed.
Yes, we all agree.
Any question from the council?
How was the $65 per hour identified?
So 65, we have 115 hours budgeted. And so Debbie's estimated the hours that it'll take for 15 to 20, I think it's probably way underestimated, 15 to 20 small group meetings if she's doing the invitations and the coordination and the facilitation. She's identified 2 to 7 small group meetings with commercial. So that's how her 115 hours are broken up in terms of the 115 hours at $65 an hour. Let's see. So she has preparing and hosting education and information outreach, 75 hours, printing of material, 250 hours, and development of the educational fact sheet, 40 hours. That was the distribution of time. The majority of the 115 hours will be spent preparing and coordinating those meetings.
Any public comment? No? Okay, bring it back to council. Thank you for putting this together. I think that this is a great asset to the community, and having someone that is able to bring the community together and make this happen is a great thing to see, and I'm glad that we're able to do that with DAC and have that partnership contribute not only with the current but just other things within the city. And I think it's a great example of the city thinking outside of the box and utilizing the resources that we have right here to make some of these things happen. So thank you, Debbie.
I'd like to also encourage, I'm anticipating that we're going to approve this. I'm not trying to jump the gun or anything, but in these 15 to 20 small groups, in residential meetings and then commercial meetings, I'm sure that they'll be on the calendar and of course made available to us. I'd encourage all of us as council members and any staff that can do it to try to attend, even if it's just show up for half a minute, just to show support, because it's so desperately important for our city. I know everybody has busy schedules and it's hard, but let's show a united front and support on this.
I echo that.
Yeah.
And you guys will provide that information to us so we can make that workable?
Yes, we've done some preliminary work. So as we broke up the residential meeting and commercial meetings, because there's, different dynamics with each, but there will be a master calendar of sorts, and we'll make that public. But we also hope to identify these small groups by special invites. Sometimes when you send out the master list, people don't feel like they can go or included or whatever. So we'll have a lot of small group meetings, but I'll make sure Melissa has the master calendar to share with all of you if you stop by for a meeting or a minute or whatever. That would be most helpful. So.
I think that what we found in the outreach strategy with the sales tax measure was that the small group meetings were very successful and that people felt more comfortable expressing their thoughts or opinions just with a few people that are maybe close to them, rather than in a big room or in a big group of people. and that it also afforded us more time for education in those one-on-one settings. So I think that that was a large part of our success with that measure.
Any other questions, comment? No? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve the contract with Destiny Angels Camp as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item F, consideration of increase of the TOT and direction to staff to prepare for the November 2019 election. Melissa?
Perfect. So staff is recommending that we get to work in considering the 2% increase to TOT. This was among the discussions at the sales tax initiative and whether or not to move forward with both. Since that time, we now know that the county has been successful in raising their TOT to 12%, and we know other jurisdictions and mountain communities have done the same. So the city would no longer be leading the way and setting a precedent. The potential revenue to the city could be approximately $200,000 in new revenue. And staff is recommending that we follow a similar measure that the county did, which they coined the county essential services measure. It was aimed at improving levels of service for fire, sheriff, road pothole repairs, and attracting, retaining business and other community service, county service infrastructure. So I would recommend, based on our need, a similar measure and request your direction in providing direction to legal counsel to begin drafting that ballot measure.
What's the deadline for submittal to get it in November? I'm guessing we passed June, or was it recommended to try for June?
You know what, and I was just thinking.
There was not an election in June.
There's no election this year in June?
Yeah, we would have had to hold a special election.
Okay, got it.
And I was just thinking, I didn't put a calendar in even to meet the November deadline, so in terms of the deadlines for the county, I do have that information, I'm not quite sure why I didn't put it in, but, so I'll have to get back to you on
November's
our.
also going to be a special, right?
What's that?
November will also be a special.
No, I don't believe so, no. I think that we received word
I
from.
think that they were planning on having an election.
Oh, there will be a county initiative of some
I
sort?
think so.
Okay.
So, just for clarity, that this would be on the city ballot only. County residents wouldn't be voting on it. Okay.
Good.
So the only cost concern is that we were at mid-year 60% expended on our legal budget. We've estimated a cost to do this of $5,000. We've talked with Doug, he is very aware of our current budget and only critical potential threats of litigation and liability are the items that his team's working on. So we would ask your direction to allow them to work on this item and make it a priority.
Before we do a motion, or let me take it to the public. Is there any public comment?
No, I came for it, but I do. You know, the county was misguided everybody. It wasn't TOT is not an essential service. TOT was designed by the state of California for public relations promotion of the county and the community. The county was so quick in doing it, they left out all RV parks, camps, and everything else, and hit only the hotels and motels. We don't have that big a problem in town. But to call it an essential service was just to kind of a threat to the people, like you're going to lose your essential services if it was presented that way. And I'm not against the 2%, but I don't like the way the county presented it. And you were talking about doing the same thing, and I vote against it in that, and I will disagree with it in that. The county even left out, never did guarantee. The whole purpose why they never got the motel people to support it was because they didn't guarantee the motel people their promotional money, that they bring the money in to promote the city or the county. It's the best investment the county or city has. They put out nothing, they get a lot back for it. They have to just guarantee a certain percent that goes to promotion and of the services of the county's recreation or whatever, and I think that it needs to be guaranteed, whether the 4%, whether the other formula is set up or whatever, but anyway, I'd like to see in more what is going to be, how it's going to be used, than to just say it's essential services that we
Well, do the calculations with respect to the percentages going to different things, they're just based on the new revenue on 12% tax, right? There's an allocation of the TOT today, right? We give.
Yes.
Yes, 10%.
So,
I would say,
just
yeah,
be, it'd just be,
4%.
yeah, but it would
Right?
just
For
be a
that.
different
Something like that.
allocation on a different volume of
Right.
money, right?
So the recommendation, we have 6% that goes to the general fund now.
Yeah.
And then 4% is divided a third, and a third.
Okay.
So a third to fire, a third to tourism, and a third to roads.
Okay.
And so the recommendation here is that the 6% that we currently have for the general fund go to 8. And so then we could utilize those funds for business attraction and retention, fire, police, and roads.
Are we legally bound to any particular arrangement with respect to those percentages?
We are not, and according to the League of California Cities, based on the information that we had, that TOT was originally intended to compensate local government and serve as a stable source of general fund revenue. So I don't believe we are required to make it a special tax. I believe that it can be a general tax for general fund, but I defer to legal, and I could stand corrected.
Okay.
Well, I just
Do you need to
like
correct
to
me?
make
No,
sure
going
there's some
forward, the
guarantee.
general, it can be a general tax, based on the existing percentage. We'd have to look at the original measures to see if they were presented as a general or special tax, so.
Perfect.
So it's possible it might just be in the same percentages based on the way they were originally presented,
The original.
to get the 10%. Is that what you, is that
Well, the additional 2% can be presented as a general fund
separate?
tax.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, I guess I understand. I just want to speak up because I think more needs to go to, more guaranteed toward the museum, to the visitor center, to DAC and some of that brings in these people that creates those funds and work on volume, just not as much as a percentage. I really just come in to get warm tonight because I thought I was going to hear
So, I mean, can we look into that, just to, as we aren't to that point yet, are we? That we're breaking it down percentage-wise, or?
I think we will look into the 6 and the 4.
Okay.
And then I think that we will work with legal counsel. We're going to bring forward a recommendation. But at this point, my recommendation is that it be a general tax on the 2%, unless legal counsel has a determination that based on anything done before, it needs to be distributed at any other,
So the 2% increase would go to general fund only?
for those purposes, yeah.
For those.
Yeah.
And then the third is police, fire, and city?
Roads, fire, roads, and TOT, so the Visitors Bureau.
Okay. Second.
Oh, fire, roads, and visitor center.
But that's,
So, and that,
yeah.
Come back to the mic.
In my opinion, it doesn't have to be.
Wait, hold on.
It does not.
Okay.
It does not have, in my opinion, it doesn't just have to be TOT, certain amount needs to go through the things that the city needs to promote to increase the TOT by tourism and use it for the tourism purposes. When, you know, the things that DAC does, what the museum does, what the Visitors Bureau does, and I think it's important to try to keep the Visitors Bureau in town because everything that goes out of the Bureau has Angel's Camp stamped on it, and that is a lot that we get because just having them here in town. I don't know. I imagine you'll have more of a hearing or more discussion about it, but I thought I'd let you know where I was focusing.
so we can get to work.
Okay. Is there any other public comment? You thinking about it? Nope. No? Okay. Okay. No public, no any other, no more public comment, we'll bring it back to council. And what is staff looking at, just?
Just direction to move forward with the exploration of a 2% increase to TOT. I
Okay.
think that's what we need right now. I mean,
And
that's
to
enough.
Absolutely.
prepare an ordinance.
Yes.
So you don't need a motion, you
So
just
you
need.
need a motion?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
we need a
move.
motion.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
I've been wanting this.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, on to agenda item G. Council, to seek council direction on additional expenses of $15,973.11 to repair existing deficiencies identified in the Community Development Office.
Okay. When the contractor went out to investigate what was going on at the Community Development Office, it was pouring down rain, and he found that there was water coming in on the right elevation of community development that had not been identified previously. And to repair that, he would have to take off some damaged siding and replace that and do some repair work inside, remove a window and then replace it after the repairs were made. And that would, those additional repairs would cost $15,973.11. The contractor is prepared to move forward, and when the contractor found dry rot on the left elevation, the original elevation that we were going to do, he told me that he would fix it without increasing the cost of that original estimate. I felt that he was being very generous there. So this $15,973.11 is to fix deficiencies on the right elevation. He's already gotten approval to fix the left elevation, but he can't get started until this is either approved or denied, and I presume if it's denied, that we won't go ahead with the rest of the repairs. Because if these repairs aren't made, then the work that he does on the walls and the flooring in there will just get damaged.
Is what he's proposing to do, does it do anything to improve the drainage or the runoff from the roof to get it directed from
Yes.
away from the sides and all that stuff?
Yes, I do believe that it includes gutters on both ends. The building sheds to the left and the right, and part of the issue was that there was no gutters ever put on it, or even a
Flashing or whatever.
flashing to direct the water away, so it was going down behind the trim and then running down inside the siding. Now that it's damaged the siding enough, the siding is leaking and it's coming inside.
Okay.
I have two questions, and not that we have more money to spend, but with the current situation of that building and the upgrades we are doing, have we considered upgrading the wiring while the walls are down? For example, instead of telephone line, Ethernet cords, update to now technology on some of those things. And also just planning the future within the building. Are we considering moving any walls to accommodate more personnel into that building? Or, I'm just asking, like, while we have the chance and it's
don't-
there as it is, or we stuck with what it was to get those repairs?
I don't think that they're going to be opening up walls. So if we decide later to put different technology in there and we need wiring for that, it would probably have to be run up through the floor.
Okay.
They plan on taking the bats off that wall board
Mm-hmm,
and texturing the walls.
okay.
but not taking the walls down.
Okay, so they're just gonna cut where the dry rot is and just,
They've already
Just
done
gonna
that.
do that.
And then they'll put wallboard up, but that's
Okay.
just in some specific places.
okay. I was under the understanding we were tearing down a lot of
Yeah.
stuff to replace.
I
Only,
think the outside walls, from what I gather off the quote, I
Okay,
think it's outside
yeah,
exterior that's going
exterior
bad.
walls. There is one wall on the left elevation that's open quite a bit in each of those back 3 offices, but not totally open. The walls the interior walls aren't coming down.
okay. I just wanted to, if there was an opportunity to make any other type of changes, it's just the opportunity for doing that. But if not, those are my only 2 questions.
They did also offer us some opportunities to save some money, including originally it had a tile floor throughout and then carpet on top of that. And if they eliminate the carpet, that could save us money, or if they eliminate tile in lieu of carpet in some places, that could save us money. So they're looking for options to
Okay.
keep the costs down.
Now, if I remember right, the insulation underneath got wiped out.
Yeah.
So this is all going to replace that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other?
No, it's like, I know, Alvin, you guys,
Where are we gonna get this money from?
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Where's that tree?
Shake it some more.
Just
I
keep
know.
spending it.
What's the timing on this, Susan, if we go ahead with it? 60
If we-
days or something like that?
Yeah, he was talking about 60 days, he would like to get that done. We've kind of held him up a lot, making these decisions, and then having to wait for council meetings to make decisions on, the increasing issues that we found. So we've kind of been put behind, but that delay is our making. And we may be penalized by the insurance company by having to pay for a month of rent ourselves on our temporary location.
For me,
So-
$3,000 on the rent, I mean, we're going almost 60,000 into this building out of the general fund.
Yeah, but an alternative to a site is
Yeah,
far
lease.
exceed that, so I think we,
I think he's looking at 90, because he's got 12 weeks for scaffolding on here. I noticed on the quote,
Okay.
per week, and then he's got 12 weeks for a rental. So it looks like a little longer than that, maybe.
Well, he's ready to go.
He
I think
is-
it's just, he was ready to go. We signed the work orders from the previous items.
Mhm,
But
I
when
found
he
this.
discovered this, which was about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, he said we shouldn't move until this is repaired because it will just damage the existing repair. So, it's like 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Maybe to get this,
You talked about the penalty. If this was just discovered 2 weeks ago, why
When
should
was
we
it?
get penalized?
What's
We
for-
did not push him forward on the repairs because about the time we were ready to say yes, and we were waiting for a council meeting to get approval, then it stormed,
And
and
hit
the
this
contractor
More
came, then he found the rest of this, then he had to get his bid together.
Gotcha.
And so, we're
Get
We're
cracking.
just trying to move it as fast as we can, if we're going to move forward on it. And I think he's willing to do that, and they've got quite a team. So if he estimated 90 days, my hope is that he can get it done much faster than that, because he has verbalized that.
And I don't know what it is, I just saw it in there, I just saw 12 weeks, so. Nope.
Is there any public comment? No? Okay,
Go fund me.
so is there
motion?
a motion to,
I'll do it.
Sure.
okay, there's a motion on
Make a
the,
motion to go forward with this.
okay,
A second.
I mean, to buy a new building would be way more than this.
yeah, I know.
What else we do?
All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
Painful.
Okay. Okay, we are on to correspondence. We have 5 correspondence in our packet. Is there any council comment, questions, staff comment, questions in the correspondence? No? No? Any public questions? Nope. Okay, moving on. Item 9, council reports, and I will start to my left with,
Coffee deliverer. I don't have any meeting reports, but I do want to say that I'm encouraged with a new business that is downtown and a new one that's coming to downtown that's open, in the works right now. They're working on their building. I think they're going to be great assets to our downtown. What is it, Crafty Chicks Roadshow? I don't know if anyone knows about that, but the lady that runs that, Julie Douglas, is with ACPA, and she's opening a little shop downtown, so that's encouraging, and we're really looking forward to it. And then we also have a new neighbor, another salon downtown that we just welcomed, and she just opened up recently, so yay.
Yeah, things are going on. Computer shop, too.
any comments? Your turn.
What's that, my turn? What did I do? I went to the DAC meeting last month. Tim Oski is now the man with the gavel up there. I got introduced, and all a very nice bunch of people. What else was in there? They were talking over some member things. People that had been on there for many years were wanting out, and new ones wanting to come in, so they have a bunch of stuff planned. What was on there? The Murphy's Grade Road. They went over all sorts of stuff. It was a really good and educational meeting for me to attend. And me and you went to the COG meeting the other night, which was my first one for that, and there's all sorts of crazy acronyms there. It was good and very informative, and the transit is going to get an app now, which is kind of cool. Instead of having to have exact change, you can do it on your cell phone, so that was kind of interesting. That's that. Moving to...
Joe?
Since last meeting, I've been to a UWPA meeting and a LAFCO meeting, but I have no detail to report out on those.
Okay, I've been to the Museum Commission meeting and the Museum Ad Hoc Committee. And where we're at right now is that we are actually calling and talking to other museums still, trying to get information about how they support and how they, bring in revenue and expenditures and foundations and all this kind of thing. And we're still, it's hard to get in touch. I'm part of the group that's trying to get in touch. So, but we're coming close to getting some new ideas and just re-evaluating everything organizationally and so on. So, anyway, that we're moving along there. And I think the other thing I just was thinking to share is this is a little different, but I wanted to praise the Public Works in that my neighbor had a huge tree split. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and I heard a clunk, and I thought, gee, what's that clunk? And we go out, and her tree, everything fell down, and and it covered our road at Gold Cliff, and we couldn't get through. And so I walked down there. I don't think I was in my PJs, but it was something darn close, and my hat in my head. And I'm wandering down there, and then all of a sudden this truck comes up, and Roger. I said, oh, it's Roger. Oh, good. And so he said, oh, I'll go get the guys from Public Works, and we'll get it done. And within 2 hours, the street was clear. It was just marvelous. It was very good, and it really pleased Mrs. Beatty, who lost her husband recently, and so it was a difficult situation. So just a praise to Public Works for being so speedy.
I had a busy month. I guess I could. So first, I would like to thank Kevin. Kevin stepped up, and he will be attending the IRWMA meetings on behalf of the city. We sat down with IRWMA and went over the projects that the city has submitted over the years, and went through. There was about seven projects that we had submitted for grant funding. So currently Kevin is going through those and working with other city staff to look at those grant proposals to see if there's something that the city can update and resubmit for potential grant funding. One of those, just as an example, is funding water piping out to the fairgrounds and Glory Hole in that area, and what that would look like. With the current different monies coming down from the state with cap and trade and Prop 68 and some other funding available, we thought this would be a good opportunity to reevaluate them, look at them, and possibly have an opportunity that we have not been able to have. We also, Kevin and I edited some blurbs in describing Angels Camp and some of our disadvantaged community applications that they are submitting as a region. And we also talked about the future of Angels possibly joining back to the JPA. Currently, we removed ourselves from the JPA because of the cost. It was up to $12,000 a year. So we removed ourselves, and in the future, we think it would be a benefit to, once we are in a better standing financially, to reconsider going back onto that board. Currently, Groveland and another community will be rejoining the JPA in the next year, but currently we are just on the advisory. And the benefit of the advisory is we can put these grant applications forward, have say from other jurisdictions and organizations on how to improve our applications, and get ample feedback, which would be an asset to staff when they need a second pair of eyes or 10 to review the grant. I also, with Melissa, met with the new chair of the county and the current interim CAO, and just extending our continuous working relationship with the county, and sharing different priorities and struggles we are both having, and just continuing that relationship with them, and just getting to know each other, and thanking them also for their help in different aspects that they have assisted us in, such as police. And then the other day, Melissa and I also met with the City of Sonora City Council, doing the same thing. It just was a new year, an extension to continue that relationship with Sonora and keep the conversations going between the two cities. And that, for that, and then COG, we voted our chair and vice chair. Gary Tofanelli is our chair. I have been appointed vice chair, and like Alvin said, there's been a lot of updates at the COG, and one of those was the app, the new app. And we should be getting the wraps on the new buses as well. So that'll be going forward as well. So you will be seeing a new color on the transit and a new logo. So that's it. So on to calendar.
Okay, on Thursday, 6 p.m. here at the Firehouse, the Planning Commission meets. Monday, the 18th, is President's Day, and city offices will be closed, and we'll meet back here for council at 6 p.m. on the 19th.
And I think at this point, we've got a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So second.
All in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Okay. Council will be going back to closed session, once everybody, so I don't know if you need to clean up. Do you want, okay, do you want to, how long, what should we do?
How long do you need?
How long do you need?
45. Oh, 45. Ooh, yikes.
How long do you think all things should be?
If we could just wrap up PD, that would be great. if I could get some direction on that.
How long do you think that'll take, like 15 minutes?
There's one other item